And he couldn't figure out.
Right, yeah. It was one of those kind of things. That was very funny.
Right here, Rick.
That one.
My youngest son was 4. No, I haven't seen him actually since New Year's.
No?
No, I don't. We were doing the 6 weeks. Did you know that? So I didn't see him. So we got.
I was sad. I know Michael was too. And even I'm actually sad. But I have been for a couple of years, yeah. I'm like, what business is it yours? But, and I'm like, for 2 years, I said, and I've been a pastor. And so, but I want to. But I said, I thought
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Bose. Here. Lauer. Here. Weekend. Here. Hiller.
Here.
Wolf.
Here.
Mullard.
Here.
Moretti.
Yes.
Francis.
Yes.
Young.
Here.
Thomas.
Here.
Hager. Schwartz.
Here.
Strahl.
Here.
Hanson. Erickson.
And no, this meeting was properly posted, Kristen.
I certify it was.
Okay, Then I need approval of minutes from December 11th, 2024 as presented.
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion by Karen Lawler, second.
Support.
Support by Jean Francis. And anybody want to approve anything? That's good. No adjustments?
Anybody have any comments?
Yep.
Anybody have any other feedback? So what's kind of neat?
Anything wrong with them? All in favor?
I couldn't hear you.
Opposed? Motion carried. Communications, do you have any?
I wanted to bring up real quick, the board rules that you guys approved not too long ago. There's actually, you approved how to run public comment. And they need to technically sign up if they'd like to do public comment. We've never done that before, so I figured I made a sign up sheet and copied the rules so that next meeting we can go forward and do that.
So you should put them over there.
I'll put them on one of the tables right here.
If somebody wants to talk to this one, that's fine. We just,
So if you don't want it that way, you have to amend your board rules.
that's the way we want it, right? If
That's
you
the
want to
way-
talk to this board, sign your name, state your business, then you can talk. That's all we're asking. Okay,
That's all I have.
committee and the chairman's report. Start with the committees. Go around the room. Go to Doug.
That'd be me. You want me to do it, Doug?
Yeah.
Okay. Actually, I have two of them, so. We had the memorial building meeting on December 9th. All were in attendance except for Doug. He was on vacation getting a suntan. Yeah, he was doing some swimming. Welcome to have you back, Doug. Call the meeting to order. Discuss net income for 2024 through 11/30 is $16,347 with a cash balance of $34,825. And all bills are paid except for the flooring of $6,500. Bowling is in full swing, so that's good. Julie is updating social media with building updates, and bookings are starting already into July here. So, and Santa was there on December 8th. For the 501c3 status, Roxanne, there's an update. We just filed paperwork and we paid the filing.
We did hear, we had to do two filings, state and federal.
Yep.
And the state filing came back as approved already.
Oh,
So
okay.
the federal filing is the one that we're waiting on.
Yep.
It can be up to 6 months or so. So probably got a little bit of a wait ahead of us.
Okay, thank you. Action on maintenance. So the floors are done in the memorial building, so if you guys get a chance to go in there, they're much needed improvement. They're more like an earth tone mix. We're also talking about some updating and some possible regrading of the outside to be able to get in and out of that building a little easier, but that will be a future fundraising item. We got some bids from the electrician rather, but we're kind of going through and still exploring possible cheaper options to update our lighting in the building currently. So Doug's working on that. And then Doug, you did a bunch of table repairs for us.
Yeah, the tables, what I could repair, they're done. We're gonna get rid of a bunch of those old heavy tables.
Right.
Merck and I are gonna organize that, and the carts are all put together.
Oh, yeah, the chair dollies?
Yeah.
Okay,
The chair dollies and the table dollies, because they were being overloaded.
Yep.
So we were two new ones.
okay. Cool. And other than that, the grand piano is at, I believe it's at the Historic Ironwood Theater right now. It's been picked up,
No, it's still there.
still there? Okay. Just going on that, that was it. Chairman, you want me to go into my aging advisory report from?
Yeah, you can. Might well.
So aging advisory met September 10th. Excuse me, no, that was the minute. We called the order December 12th last month. And meal site updates were provided by Trista. She said early home delivery and meal sites were added to the Christmas list They did a bunch of prizes or something in the goodie bags, what she said. And those funds were provided by a couple of community donors to use for the holiday season. They also received two nice donations to the Hurley Senior Center from the Tavern League of Wisconsin, and she's coming up with a spending plan for those funds. Diane is very busy making meals for Mercer and Springstead while maintaining the needs of Hurley and Iron Belt. Things are going good in Iron Belt. No issues there. As far as Mercer, Karen, you attended the dining in option at the Mercer Senior Center on that Wednesday, I believe you said.
Yeah, and I've actually been there other times too.
How's it going?
It's actually going a lot better.
Okay.
There's some of the things that are actually going to start changing within the senior center. There's going to be more engagement with other groups, bringing in people who come and talk. There's been more people coming to the meals. And Trista is going to be providing some educational things too. So there's going to be more educational things to bring people into the center, which will help drive people to actually use the programs. Plus now, we're also going to be being open Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, actually having the senior center open. So people can come in and actually play cards, or they can do puzzles, or do arts and crafts. There's going to be more engagement there within the senior center. There's also going to be a welcoming center that's going to is in the process of being created, and a coffee bar, and other things that are going to make it more welcoming. So they're working hard on it.
Okay. Thanks for that updated info on that. Thanks, Karen. Tommy Innes stated that things are going well in Saxon. Everything's going good there with the cook. He asked about, in the past, like fire department would hand out smoke detectors and other safety items to seniors. He wanted to know if there would be a way to bring that back. Murph, you mentioned you talked to emergency management.
They don't do that no more. That was a grant.
Okay.
So Stacy said they don't do that.
Okay. Tommy also asked about the option to have a salad bar at Saxon. Olson stated that Hurley received their salad bar as a donation from the school. So she's looking into other options that might be arranged, pending more research. Patzer stated that things are going well in Springstead. No issues there. We only got a couple applications from Indeed for the Mercer Cook. I don't know, you talked to Trista's same application. So if they deem the applicants, candidates are good for the position, she will interview them. She provided a revenue and data collection to the group, and doing that, she slotted some transportation funding. Noted an increase of funding will continue to support the overhead of the program. Funding continues to be limited at the state level. More grants opportunities may be needed to approach in order to grow the transportation program in Iron County. So what we've seen is there's a huge need for transportation for people to go to doctor's appointments, and it's very, very busy. So we're going to continue to try to keep that program going. Other than that, that was kind of the highlights. That's all I have.
Thank you, Jamie.
Unless I forgot anything.
Bill, we got anything?
We didn't have a meeting, but I want to thank Casey for letting us use the garage yesterday for the mobile food pantry.
Yes, it was very nice, even though it was still kind of warm, at least you were
Right,
on the
wind,
wind in the
yeah.
draft.
Yeah.
So I participated in that yesterday. It was, thanks for the highway.
That's all I got.
People helping people.
Casey, what I got.
Is that nice?
Anything? Nope. Everything's going good. Everything's good down there.
Mario,
The only meeting that I had was the airport board and all that, not take care of that.
anything, Paul?
Okay, we had a fair board meeting on the 16th, and we have two students. And they really seem like they're interested in the fair activities and general fair property. I mean, I was amazed. And then we got the plans for the fair for this year. This Wisconsin will be there. We're also gonna have a wood carver present. He's gonna make articles and we can sell them. And we also discussed bird flu, for the regulations and new restrictions. And all the entertainment and the carnival is all booked. We left the ticket prices the same as last year. And we agreed to get the fill from 122 the road for the ball field and wherever we need fill out there. The state's gonna put it in. We love it and take care of it. And we need to repair the floor. There's a big bump in the gym. So that's probably our next project. And we're gonna tear down the one food booth and replace it. The oldest one, it's used to be the old Lions Club, if anybody knew about it. Haven and it's leaking and so we're gonna replace that. And we made approximately $32,000 in the storage units this year for the boats and whatever else, trailers. And it's all done by volunteers. They go out on Sunday, Saturday, whenever they can deliver product, they put it away. And our next meeting is February 20th, if anybody wants to go, we'll be glad to have you. Thank you all.
I went to the fair board meeting. We're very fortunate to have people on that fair board. They do a hell of a job. They really do. Other fairs ain't nothing like ours. They're very organized. You guys are, Paul.
What time is that at? The meeting, what time?
Usually 6:30.
And you move it around, don't you? Or you always have it Kimball?
That was only one time in Kipper. I don't know if we'll go back or not.
Because where's going though? All right, Pat, tell me something good. What do you got?
No, we didn't have a recycling meeting. Zoning, we had a meeting, we got some items up here. We're going to be voting on tonight. We have a position coming up in zoning. And we will be posting. And, unfortunately, out at the airport, we had a new organizational meeting. It's going to come, we had new officers, members, and I was re-elected chair, and Mario is our secretary of the airport. There is part-time jobs available at the airport. If you know how to run a loader or a dump truck, you will fall snow for $27 an hour. They're looking for people, part-time. Basically what we have right now. And we are running through our handbook.
What was the ending numbers back? You know, offhand, what did we end with? We end up with more passengers in 24 than we did 23.
Yeah, well, we're right at that border.
Yeah, we're right there, eh? Maybe we'll have to go back and forth.
Quite a bit,
Yeah,
because it was pretty steady flow. It just a couple of odd times that we had snow something like the product back.
take you back. Carl, what you got?
We had a law enforcement community meeting. January 14th, we did the self-evaluation of emergency management. We're still looking for a road deputy at this time. And we received a hair over $20,000 by housing inmates from another county. What it?
Okay, Karen?
I didn't have any meetings this last month in the county.
Yeah, prayer for you. How about you, Rick?
We met in December for economic development. We were setting up committees, getting the social media set
setting up committees for grants and looking in different areas. We've got another meeting tomorrow, but, we're still just getting our feet on the ground to get going.
We are getting there. You're doing a good job, Rick. Yeah, like you said, we're just throwing stuff around now, but it's gonna come together. There's a lot of good ideas, a lot of good people in the room.
Okay. Yes.
You got anything else?
Nothing I can think of, sir.
Sounds like you, Roxanne.
I had two meetings recently. One was the library for all the 8 counties in the Northern District. There is a new Northern Waters Library System Director. Her name is Catherine Elkert. I was part of the search team to interview and select her. That was a lot of fun. The other thing we did at that January 18th meeting is we reviewed the 2024 financial statements, and those are all looking good for the library system. Then on the 23rd of January was the extension meeting. One of the first things they started with in the extension committee meeting was that the extension ended the year $23,000 under budget for 2024, so that was good news. And then Neil Fleming gave an update. He's, I think he's in the middle of or almost done with his 8-week shooting sports that he does. He's doing some youth leadership projects, and we have students sitting with us. Those are Neil's students that are participating in various committees and sitting along with us as we have our board meetings to learn about how county government operates. And so we welcome all of you guys and encourage you to participate and ask questions. Then, let's see, youth summer camp is ramping up. CSU is going on. Joe Miller's got a bunch of things going on. Be Nice to Your Robot. He had the USDA resource fair a while back. He's helping out with economic development as well. There's a Coffee Connection entrepreneur thing that Joe Miller is running, an entrepreneur boot camp. He's helping with various grant writing. So the extension staff, and including Becky, she's supporting all of this. She's also making sure, Becky's also been very helpful to me, making sure that all of our county agendas and minutes, Kristen, you're helping with this as well, making sure that those are all out on our county website. So I appreciate that. And then obviously Becky Holman is doing a lot of work with the food pantry, which you heard mentioned a little bit ago. So there's a lot of work that's been going on in both of those.
Thank you. Connor.
I don't have anything.
Last but not least, Kurt.
Finance met last week. We had some housekeeping items, but I think the two big things were made a recommendation to the board to apply the $567,000 of carbon credit revenue we received against the Saks Partner loan. And the other one was we learned about Register of Deeds revenue. 7 years or so, state passed a law requiring you to set aside $7 of every $30 recording fee into a fund. And we hadn't been doing that real well. So we went back and calculated that. And one of the agenda items tonight is to set aside those dollars that we were supposed to set aside over the last 7 years into a reserve fund for land record modernization. And then Register of Deeds has a contract to work towards modernizing the records. So it's actually $8. So that's just something we need to clean up in our records. It wasn't in the budget, neither the revenue or the expense, but I didn't know about it. But one of those things you learn about, you gotta take care of. That's it.
Okay, I got a couple of things just to the board. Just so you guys know, as of January 1st, Tim Dean is no longer corporate counsel. It is Doug Musket. Tim did a good job. He's at his Wisconsin license going. So we've done much just to let you know. Doug is the one. Another thing, Danny Stein retired January 6th. I don't know if y'all know that either. He was here 12 years. Great guy. Gonna miss him. Not only was he the Register of Deeds, he was also a county tax lister. And him and Clara used to do it. It's kind of a thankless job, and no one really cares about it because it gets done, right, Clara? Clara needed some help. So I asked Neil Martinko if him and Clara, if he would continue taking it. Asked Daddy if he wanted to do it. Daddy said no, didn't want to do it. Niels and Clara are gonna do it now. And they both agreed to do it. There's a little stipend, it's less than what if we went and hired somebody, so we're just gonna let it go as it is. I just wanted you to know we're just switching guys. We spend no money. I think the new employee handbook started January 1st. There's already a couple things we missed. We weren't perfect. That's gonna be like an ongoing document we'll work on there. And every department had meeting. When we did police and the sheriffs, we missed the deputy sheriff. It was in the minutes of 2 years ago. We missed it, so we had to pay him what he had coming. I think it was 20. No big deal. Just want to let you know. Went to a town meeting where all the towns meet. Me and Roxanne went, and it was in Gurney. We went up there and they liked it. We came. They meet quarterly. They asked if I would go or somebody from the county would go and tell them every quarter what the county's doing. I don't see nothing wrong with that. We should let the towns know what we're doing. One of the questions they were asking about is the voting now. I talked to the clerk here. Kristen's she's gonna do the February and the April one the way we always done them. Starting in 2025 election next April 26th, there's gonna be a different way to do it. And the clerks are gonna have to get with Kristen. It's basically an 8-hour course, and you're gonna get this little FIDO thing that you're gonna put in your computer. And then you're gonna be able to give it to Kristen right away. It'll be, she said, more accurate, right? So yeah.
They'll be able to enter their voter information and absentee information so that there's no discrepancies, no issues, because we did run into that last year where individuals requested absentee ballots and were not actually registered, and due to those clerks not being able to access the list vote system themselves, then you have to backtrack and you have to get a hold of those individuals, and so it becomes kind of a mess. So this will make it where they have that access. It'll be more efficient and accurate, and they'll have a little bit more control over their elections as well.
So we're gonna do it as it is, these one in February, one in April, and then maybe sometime this summer, maybe we're gonna get all the clerks, maybe we're gonna have a little cookout and a little lazy Susan. We're all gonna get together and we're gonna figure out with all the clerks how to do it. It doesn't sound like it's much more. It'll make it more accurate, you know. But like Podsy, like he said, his clerk, it's not a full-time job. Like City of Hurley, City of Montreal, and Mercer already do this. The other people, it's just a little bit extra. We'll figure it out. We'll get you through it.
So you are having a training? You are going to do something?
I think
They do it online. The WEC has a tutorial that they do online. They don't have to go anywhere. It walks them through it step by step. It's fairly simple. Most of the information, they're doing it now. They just put it in an Excel sheet or some other Word document or so forth to keep track of their absentee ballots. And then they have to fill out a log for me and send it to me, and then I enter it. So this way, they just have to enter it one time into this.
And the last thing I want to say is, because Roy ain't here, but every year the Wisconsin Land and Water Conservation Association recognizes and honors members from across Wisconsin who do great work. This year, we are proud to announce that our Iron County Conservation, Heather Palmquist, is the winner of the Outstanding County Conservationist Award. Heather started with Iron County Land and Water 16 years ago. She's been a department head for 12. As we saw in last month's board meeting, we are so proud of Heather's outstanding work, grants, projects, partners, staff, and their statewide groups. Heather will receive it in March 5th to 7th in Green Bay, 2025. I don't know if Roy's gonna go with her or somebody, but we were talking today, we feel it's an honor if somebody, we're sending somebody. I don't think that me and Heather could go because we might not make it to the award ceremony the next day. So I'm not going. But I'm proud of her, she did it, and I just wanted everybody to know that. And one of the last thing too is, I brought it up at finance, they never said nothing. An entrepreneur pop-up shop wants to put a coffee Ambulance out in front of the county, maybe once a week or something. I didn't see any problem with it. Finance didn't see anything. She has a thing from the health department. She's legit. That's all we ask. And right now it's economic development. We'll take anything we can get.
She'll be here tomorrow from 6 to 2. 6 a.m.
Does anybody have a problem? See anything with that? It's a business. We're trying to, okay.
How often?
Right now, she said it's on like once a week on Wednesday from 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. Maybe a weekend if she decides down the
We'll
road.
be there from 6 to 2 tomorrow. She's supposed to be at City Hall. Maybe 2 to later on.
I thought that's what she said, the 6 a.m.
The question got brought up on the city end. We don't have a problem with it, as long as we don't think that there's a liability issue. If something were to happen on premise, I guess it's a legal question. I don't have the answer for it, but other than that, I don't have a problem with it. So,
I don't see any problem on our end anyway. I don't. I'll take anything at this moment to help us with our economic. What do you think, Dougie? Enough. With that, I want to move on to the administrative coordinator report. It's our first one.
Right.
See how you do.
Tough crowd, holy cow. So this is the first report after 3 weeks as a temporary administrative coordinator for the county. So I feel like I'm just getting my feet wet, just kicking the tires here and finding some opportunities for improvement. Meeting with department heads primarily just to find out how everybody is doing, what needs they have from a leader for the county. And also just because we're closing out 2024, we're spending a lot of time on year-end journal entries to book all the revenue and expense into 2024 that should be in there and eliminating our audit material weakness. So there's been a lot of work done just over the past couple of weeks with all the department heads, just trying to make all the revenues and expenses get in the right spot for 2024. So because of that, it's a little bit too early to tell where we've landed for 2024 because we're still having checks going out and deposits coming in that relate back to 2024. It's also a little too early to even tell how the first part of 2025 is going. So next month, we'll probably be able to give you a much better view at the February board meeting. Also, we're designing a formal monthly report for the finance committee and for the board. And it should be just something simple that'll just give you a better picture of how the county's doing. Another thing that I'm doing is I'm tracking my hours spent in this role as the admin coordinator. I'm finding that I'm working almost 40 hours a week. Maybe it's just because it's busy time with getting the audit stuff ready, but I've been also spending some time on budget, a few staff management issues, and just also with the regular boards and committees. I'm also starting to work on a job description, what this role needs to look like. I'm also enlisting the Wisconsin County Association for some help with that because they obviously have all the job descriptions for all the counties and they've offered to help me with fleshing that out. So again, we hope to have more fleshed out by next month and a lot more by March. Moving forward, one thing that I do see already is we need to look at all possible revenue opportunities for the county and also all kinds of efficiencies for the county. Let's see, Carl had mentioned some good work by the Sheriff's Department last year, helping out other counties. We got paid to help out another county, and there's got to be, I think, more good work like that being done where we get paid to help out other counties and maybe don't have enough staff in an area or whatever, needs some help. Grants. There are many department heads who just do a fabulous job. Like we'll hear from Eric a little bit later tonight. Heather over in land conservation. Numerous other department heads do a lot of grant work. We got to keep doing more of that and keep shaking the trees for more of those kind of grants. So that's pretty much it, just for the first couple of weeks. Hope to have more next month.
Thank you, Roxanne.
You're welcome.
Anybody have any public comment? You don't have to write it down or nothing, this one is, the next one will be official, okay? This one here will let anybody talk, okay? There is none.
I just said one comment. Normally, we have the students have name tags before.
We did, but she got her names written down, but I don't know if they had, I think they had name tags of UW Extension, Jamie, I do believe you're right.
I have the answer. I spoke with Neil a little bit before the meeting. He said they were gonna have name tags at the next meeting.
Okay,
The whole point of this is putting them here and being more involved. So,
sorry.
Yeah.
But they do, Jamie, you're right. Just, and Paul's right too, the two that were on the fair board had a lot of input. They were talking about ways of using the fair differently, talking about driving movies. They were talking about maybe a prom or not a magic show, but like a talent show. These kids, your thoughts, these board. Just because you don't have a name tag, you got something to say, say it. So we get you some name tags. Thank you. Okay, Eric, you can do two things. You can give the forestry update because I forgot about it. And then you can give your second carbon credits presentation because I know some of you have a lot of questions. We sold some carbon credits now. Before it was if we sold them, now we did. I get questions and I know you do, and you came to me. I want Eric to explain it to you one more time. So with that, Eric Peterson, you do your little thing.
All right, so let's do forestry update here quick. We finished 2024 with stumpage of $1,629,045.52. That was $82,921 less than last year. We had a really slow fall, November, December for logging. The markets were horrendous. So far, year to date, 2025, we've booked $73,355.69 in stumpage. But the good news is we've currently got 11 crews working right now. So wood's hitting the ground, hitting the road. It's that lower priced wood that we've talked about for years coming that's flushing through. So hopefully we'll get a good in middle of January into the rest of the winter and get us where we need to be to hit our stumpage numbers. Other things, we opened ATV UTV trails in the northern part of the county on January 7th. We opened snowmobile trails county-wide on January 16th. We were once again the first in the state, but it was January 16th before we were able to do it this year. Trail conditions, I would say right now in Iron County would be rated fair at best, probably grading more towards 4, but quite honestly, at this time of year, we're going to take what we got and let them go with it. We also purchased our new to us loader, took delivery of that last week, and we did sell our old loader on Wisconsin surplus auction site, and Ross Peterson from the area was the one that actually purchased that. So that pretty much sums up department news. So on the carbon credit front, as Murph said, there's been lots of talk over the last 3 years if we sell carbon. And I will be here to say that I told you we were doing something. But we finally made our first sale in November. We got the payment for that $567,800 and some odd dollars. I think it was the first Monday in January that we got that payment. All the expenses to date of that sale were paid out of that initial purchase. And then the revenue was split between us and New. So I guess I'll just go through a couple of little highlights of that agreement, and then Murph, I'll get questions. So the original agreement date, we signed that agreement September 28th of 2021, or that's when you guys approved it. It's a 10-year agreement with, at the time was Blue Source, it's now a New. It's a 10-year agreement with 2 option years at the end for Iron County. We can opt in 2 more times for 1-year options at the end of that with them. Anu has the exclusive marketing rights, for our carbon on the county forest. They can combine it with other projects. So if they wanted to take, Bayfield County and Iron County and Washburn County and Russ County, who are the 4 counties right now that have credits available to sell, put all ours together in one package and sell it as one lump sum, they can do that. They can take 10 credits from us and 7 from here, and they have the exclusive marketing rights for the carbon. As a high level, a carbon credit is the equivalent of 1 metric ton of carbon dioxide that's removed from the atmosphere. So that's what we're talking about. We're talking carbon credit. There was a question that was brought up about, are we giving away our land? Is the companies that are buying these credits, do they have control of anything? And the answer to that is no. They are purchasing the carbon credit from us. The way we need to look at carbon and the sale of it in the county is just like another forest product. We sell saw logs, we sell pulpwood, we sell firewood, we sell balsam boughs, we sell Christmas trees, we also sell carbon. It's the same concept. The tough part about carbon for everybody to understand and carbon credits is it's not something you can put your hands on. Okay, it's not a block of firewood that you can go pick up. It's the equivalent of 1 metric ton of carbon dioxide removed from the atmosphere. That's the definition. The way those carbon credits are calculated is the new placed 313 plots scattered around the county forest. And he sent a crew out to measure the trees on all those plots. And they take all of that information from tree species and diameter and total heights and crown size and all of that kind of stuff. And they plug it into their proprietary models, and that spits out a number and says that county forest is sequestering, absorbing from the atmosphere this much carbon. And that's how they calculate that number. That's how our 435,200 carbon credits calculate. And that's proprietary information that Anu has with their models that they plug and chug, because there's other carbon companies out there that may do things a little different. In our agreement, the landowner, Iron County, agrees to sell, transfer, and otherwise convey to Anu or a third party at the direction of Anu all credits pursuant to the agreement. So anything that is developed within this 10-year agreement that we have, they have full rights over. And how it gets marketed, how it gets sold, all of that. But they're not selling their land. They're not selling anything that we physically own. It's ours. It's a product of our forest. We do have a non-disclosure agreement with the new that applies to me, other employees, board members. And that non-disclosure agreement is there primarily to protect proprietary information that new has and how they do their business. There was a question about the number of acres that are in the project area. The acres in our project area are 156,517 acres. Our county forest total is 175,447. So it's almost 90% of the county forest is in that. But 90% of our county forest is also in our forest management program. So the key to the whole carbon thing is to look at it like another product that we're selling from the forest. And all we have to do is continue to be good stewards of our forest and continue to manage it well like we have for the last many decades. And hopefully we can continue to reap the benefits of those sales. Now, there's outside influences that could affect that, whether it's the government, whether it's changes in attitudes about climate, things like that. All of those things could affect price, sales, all of that. But that's the same in a pulpwood market. When the paper markets crash or the plywood markets crash, things go down. Maybe you don't sell some sales. When I first started here in 2015, up until about 2021, every timber sale we put out for bid, we sold it. Every one of them. last few years, we don't sell them all. Last fall, we offered 20, we sold 14. It's all market related. So the benefit, I guess, to Iron County and the carbon market is there are companies out there that are buying these things. Some of them buying lots of them, and they're gonna buy them from somewhere. So why shouldn't Iron County take advantage of something that we can supply as a product of our good forest management? And with that, briefly, what I handed out is the white sheet that Anu uses. This is directly from Anu. So this is the kind of information that when they're going out and trying to find clients, purchase these things, this is like the snapshot of the Iron County project. So it talks about where we are, what we are. There's 156,000 acres, estimated reductions in emissions of 3.9 million tons, 3.9 million credits over 20 years. It gives the benefits on why we would be a good project. So think of this as a marketing tool, and they're selling our project. They're trying to sell our project over another county, another company's carbon project. It's just a marketing tool. Why should you buy from Iron County? Basically what this is. It talks about our distribution for mills. It talks about harvest activities within the region. And one of the big drivers, and I think that kind of sets us ahead of other places or gives us a leg up on some things, is we have the Pinocchio Range in the northern part of the county. It is classified as an important breeding area, birding area in Wisconsin. It's a stopover for migratory birds on their way north and south. They stop on the way across the lake. They stop when they get over because they're tired. On their way up, they stop before they go so they can get rested up to fly across the lake. There's multiple threatened and endangered species in that area. And if you're thinking about a feel-good project as a company that is pumping greenhouse gases into the atmosphere, what better project to buy than something that's loaded with threatened and endangered species? It's a marketing tool. Trying to think what else is around here. You can go through this there and look through it. You're going to recognize a lot of the verbiage in there. You're going to understand where it's coming from. You're going to recognize Iron County and a lot of that stuff when you read it. So basically, the only thing that this agreement does not allow us to do is the landowner shall not conduct activities that result in a material reduction of credits. So in other words, say a solar energy company comes here and says, Iron County, you guys would be a perfect place for a 400-acre solar farm. You can't do that. No, not allowed to do that. But the key to that is Wisconsin County Forest is probably, or Wisconsin DNR is going to have something to say about that too. So that's what we can't do. All we have to do is continue to manage the forest the way we have been for years and years, and be good stewards of the land, and hopefully we'll be able to continue to take advantage of the carbon market as long as we can. Questions? Murph, did I cover
Yeah,
that?
not wrong. I think so. The 4 questions I get all the time is, 1, they do not own this land.
We don't know.
We own the land. We manage the land just like we always have. They do not own it. China is not involved. We own it, all right? 2, I get is, the second question I get was, often asked is, there's 4 of them, they're on top of my head. One of them is, where is it? You just explained it. It's all of our forest.
Basically, it's 156,517 acres of our total county forest.
I think that's 90%, you said, roughly?
Yeah, 175,400, so yeah, a touch less than that.
Third question is, what is Iron County on the whole part? You just answered that. We cannot sell it.
Right,
We cannot
Right.
sell this land.
right. And Wisconsin DNR would have something to say about that anyway.
I do agree.
Yep.
And 4 is, why us? Can you answer that? by saying, why not? Why not us? We've been getting the short end of the stick for 75 years. Why not?
Microsoft just this week, in fact, it might have been yesterday morning, I saw the announcement, just committed $25 billion or $3.5 billion to carbon credits over the next 25 years. These companies are buying them. Are they gonna buy them from Iron County? I certainly hope so. But why not us?
Yeah, I was skeptic too. That's why I had him come back. Some people ask me, does anybody have any questions for him?
I do. We're in a 20-year contract or agreement.
We are in a 10-year agreement with the new. It's a 10-year agreement, marketing with them. We are in a 40-year commitment in the American Carbon Registry. And that's basically, to be part of this program, we had to agree to enter that program, similar to MFL with FEMA.
And then with that agreement that we've got, we got our fees and everything already paid for with the first sale. So we have basically $560 whatever $1,000. Is that something that is gonna happen one time for the next 10 years, or is it gonna happen?
So subsequent sale, so the way the agreement reads is any sale, any expenses that have been occurred by a new to a third party, not their own internal expenses, but if they had to go out, like when they set the carbon plots up, they paid Federal Land Services for Tomahawk to go out and do that. It's a third party, any third party expenses get paid first. As of right now, in our first sale, most of those expenses, all of the expenses to that point were paid. A subsequent sale may have a registration fee of the credits or something like that. It's not gonna be huge amounts of money. But if there's any outstanding fees at that point, those get cleared first. And then at year 5 of the agreement, so American Carbon Registry requires us in every 5th year, year 5, 10, 15, 20, all the way up to year 35, to do an audit of our books. And the audit isn't a financial audit, it's an audit basically of our harvest records. Because we report every year to Renew that we harvested this much volume of timber on this many acres, and we map it all out. This is where we cut, this is how much we cut. And that audit that's required every 5 years basically verifies that we gave it factual. And then every 10 years, so in year 1, year 11, year 21, and 31, we have to have a full remeasurement of those plots. No matter what, we have to have that done. Those are our requirements.
When ours is done with a new, when the contract's done with a new, is this something that you can do?
The intent when we signed this agreement was that a new would educate me on how to do this so that we could potentially do it in-house. I can't sit here in year 3 and say, yeah, I got this figured out. We got one sale under our belt.
Yeah.
And I don't know honestly if we ever would be able to handle it internally. But we can also go to either a new again and renegotiate another agreement, or find somebody that maybe can do that.
My last question, I guess, do you think maybe we got picked because of the way we manage our forest? We manage our forest better than other counties.
We manage our forest well, as do all the other counties. Sometimes it's as simple as, what kind of car do you want to buy? You want to buy a Ford, or you want to buy a Chevy? I mean, it's buyer's choice. And what is it that sets our project apart from somebody else? And we had a meeting in October, that we met with a few other individuals here in the county that kind of have a marketing brain, and we kind of bounce my ideas off each other, because I get questions occasionally from potential buyers. And they'll send an email to a new one. They'll want to know, why should we buy this? And what are you gonna do with the money? And you name it. Primarily it's been, what are you gonna do with the money, and what are you protecting? How many miles or feet of river are you protecting? and all of those kind of things. And I have to provide answers back to them. And originally I was looking at it kind of as a black and white thing. I was just giving them the answer. But then the more I thought about it, we're trying to sell ourselves to these folks. What, just simply saying we're protecting 426 miles of stream doesn't necessarily, as I told the group that day, that's not sexy. We want something that the individual that's looking at our project can go back to their board of directors and say, look, guys, I found this Iron County project and they're doing this, and this, and we should buy this project. So it's all marketing. So we kind of talked about some different things, and in that hour meeting we had, there were some really good ideas. Since that meeting, I've only got 2 questions. It's just the way it goes. But I will say, we can't predict how much or when we're gonna sell these things. I will tell you, last July, late July, there was a company that was looking at buying 331,000 of our credits. And if that would have went through, we'd have been looking at probably about $7 million. But just as quick as that came into play, it went away. That company found something else they wanted to buy, or they moved on to maybe something that was a little cheaper or whatever. But just like shopping for a vehicle, one day you're in, the next day they're gone. And that was the market. But our very first somebody coming to kick the tires was a potential $70 million sale.
So, and I'm trying to get back to understanding what a new is. I understand we have a 4-year commitment to stay in the carbon registry.
Right.
But a new is kind of like a broker.
Yep.
So.
They are a developer of projects.
Right. And you don't use a broker to buy a car, you use a broker to buy a house, whatever, kind of like that, like a real estate broker.
For sure.
They do all the marketing, blah, 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 they get a commission,
Yep.
right? So
Yep.
a new is kind of just like.
More like a real estate
broker.
a real estate broker.
Help you relate to
Yep.
what it's like.
Yep, exactly.
Okay. So if we took it in-house, we'd have to like do all that pretty much like
Correct.
nationwide.
Correct. And you know, maybe it's, so one of the things that I've been told and I've learned through it as we've studied this, it seems like once you have buyers that are interested in your project, a lot of times they keep coming back to your project.
Repeat.
Repeat customers.
Mhm.
Because it costs those companies, choose Amazon. Amazon's gonna buy carbon credits in Iron County, for example. Somebody's gonna come from Amazon, they're gonna do all their due diligence about our project, and they're gonna learn all about it. Well, next year, they're not gonna go start due diligence all over again. If they found something that they like and everybody's still on board with it, they're gonna go right back to that well. And according to what I've been told by a new, that is a common thing, because there's an expense on the buyer's part too, to do their homework and find something that they like, so they continue to go back to that same well. Now, does that mean that we're gonna have these same kind of purchases every year? I don't know. Depends on what that company's bottom line looks like. Depends on what their federal regulations or stuff are. There's all those factors that come into play.
So these carbon credits that we sold, how long are them off the market?
So think about them like a block of plywood or a piece of veneer. We sold it, it's gone.
They're gone for 40 years till the
It's
end
gone.
of the
It's
contract?
gone. So the way the buyers utilize the carbon is they purchase it and then they apply it to something and it gets retired and it goes away.
Okay.
So we don't have to we're not holding somebody else's baggage for 40 years. It's a one and done transaction. We sell it and now it's theirs and they apply it to their emissions. And then once they apply it through the registry, it gets retired and it's gone.
So when we sell them, we're done.
Gone. And similar to our wood products, we have this much available this year, we have this many available next year, it's not like they're stuck. We keep adding on. I used the analogy to somebody here a couple of weeks ago about a farmer selling hay. He makes 400 bales of hay on his field, he can sell 400 bales. If somebody wants to buy 500, he doesn't have 500, he can only sell 400. But next year he's gonna have 400 again. And maybe it's a good year and he has 500.
Well, how do we gain more carbon credits if we're allotted so many per substation and we say we do have a really good sale.
So the way the carbon is calculated is there's two different classifications. There's what's called conservation credits, and that's the carbon that's stored in the standing timber. And a news contract, basically, agreement allows them to capture the value of the carbon in the stored standing timber in that first 10 years. About 70 to 75% of the carbon, though, that we have annually is called removals. So it's sequestered carbon that the actual forest is actually actively pulling out of the atmosphere every year. So that's how we replenish that, because the trees continue to grow. Well-managed forests grow better than non-managed forests and old growth. So sequestered carbon, active forest management, pulls more carbon out of the atmosphere. We get credit for that.
What's the time frame on renewing your credits? So let's say there's 100 credits.
Yep.
You sold 100 credits this year.
Annually. So our year starts
Got
September 28th of every year. That's our start of the next year.
And is
So-
that for removal credits only that it's
Both.
annual or both?
Oh,
Conservation credits
yeah.
and removal credits?
so eventually, the plan is that after reporting period 10 or year 10, the conservation credits will have been all used up and put on the market. And the conservation credits are the standing timber carbon. So then from year 11 on, it would just be the sequestered carbon that we would be looking at.
So we have theoretically a little less for sale, years 11 to 40.
11 and 4, correct,
Than we do from 1 through 10.
correct.
But there's a lot for sale.
So this first go around, we had 435,000 credits on the market, and I think 106 or 108,000 of them were conservation, and the rest were removals. So 325,000 in the first year were removals. So, but those numbers get adjusted based on how much wood we get harvested, every year based on those plots.
So if a company decides to not apply those credits anymore going forward in their company and allow those credits to be available for sale?
They could sell them. They can sell them because until they're retired, they're available. They're sitting there available. So Amazon buys our credits and they're holding a stockpile of 100 credits, and Microsoft comes along and says, we want those credits. They can trade them. It's almost just like stock, futures trading.
And that price, the difference is.
They can sell them for whatever they want. Nope, ours are gone. We've sold it. It's gone.
So Eric, one other thing you said that I want to explore just a little more with you. You said that if there were political changes, like let's say the current administration of this country changes some things that could affect carbon credits, or if they care less about the climate, let's say, that could make carbon credits be less
Could make them less valuable.
desirable.
Or less attractive.
Less attractive, but the thing you remember about these carbon markets is these carbon markets are not stuck in the United States. It's a global market.
Uh-huh.
So maybe it's not financially attractive for an American-based company to purchase carbon credits because of legal situations or laws or whatever. But that doesn't mean that a company from overseas isn't interested. Anu had a sale last fall, I think it was announced in September, with Total Energies out of France. And it was 105 million. I mean, it was a big number. So,
So it seems like we need to keep taking these as they come. We can't rely, we can't depend, we can't forecast or budget that, we're gonna get so much.
it's birthday money.
Every time we'll just deal with it as it comes.
Yep, it's birthday money. What does grandma want to put in your birthday card?
Eric, I heard you mentioned that we had 20 sales this past year, and we only sold 14.
Yep.
Now, if we sold all 20, does that help us?
So it would,
Stay on.
the more wood that we're cutting detracts from the amount of carbon credits. I mean, quite honestly. But not significant. It's not gonna change it significantly. Because right now, it's really interesting. You'll hear sometimes that, oh, the county's cutting all the woods down because somebody's got a clear cut that they just buy their property or whatever, or a timber sale by their hunting stand, and oh, they're cutting all the forest down. When you look at the map for the past 3 years of what actually got cut in the county, it's like little dots all over the county. It's less than 2%, less than, we normally cut around 3,000 acres a year on 175,000 acre forest. So that's what, 1.6% of the land area, and we cut that every year. So if we don't sell 4 sales and the average timber sale in Aaron County is 100 acres, it's not going to make or break us. But it does affect that total available carbon number a little bit.
On the margins though, 'cause we still have.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we still have 415,000 sales. So that was-
Correct. Yeah. So maybe instead of 435,000, you got 415, or you have 450. It could be a decent chunk of change, but it's not super significant. As Kurt said, it's on the fringes.
Okay, is everybody carbon credit at all? It's a good thing, but I wanted everybody in this room to understand it, because it's my second time and I'm still learning. Did before, I get all the time.
And I'll be the first to admit, I'm learning stuff all the time about this. I mean, it's complex. It really is. And if any of you guys got questions or you think about stuff, I mean, just stop down and see me. We can talk about it. And if I don't know the answer, I can get a hold of Lindsay with a new one and say, Lindsay, I got this question, I don't know the answer. So,
Well, one Sunday morning, you come to the grocery store with me, when they start asking me, I'll say, ask him, and then I keep going.
that'll work. I'm happy to answer questions.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for explaining it the second time for us. Thank you very much.
And back to back.
Okay, thanks. Discuss action on resolution 2025-3092 to support rights paid application for new funding in Iron County. I need a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Jamie, and a second by Tanner. Discussion. I see the Brightspeed guys here. Okay, at this point in juncture on these things, the BEAD grant, the government kind of opened it up now, so now they can start getting. Do you want to explain that?
Yeah,
You can go ahead and explain what the BEAD grant is.
sure. So I'm Kelly Shipley. I'm the Government Affairs Director for Brightspeed here in the state of Wisconsin. So what BEAD, does everybody know what BEAD is? Understand it?
Broadband.
Yeah. So basically, it's broadband equity and deployment. And really what that means is that the state of Wisconsin, along with the Public Service Commission, via the federal government, has handed Wisconsin $1.05 billion to invest in getting fiber to areas throughout the state where there's inadequate internet services. They deem inadequate internet anything less than 100 download by 20 upload, 100 megabit by 20. And so part of the program and the $1.05 billion that's available to Wisconsin is part of the BEAD program, where we are applying, my particular company. And if you don't know who Brightspeed is, I hope you do. We purchased all the assets out of CenturyLink about 2 years ago, October 22. And since that time, we've been actively upgrading our fiber over the old copper network, which is completely inadequate for internet service. I think everybody probably agree with that. And so part of the reason that I'm here tonight is to ask for an endorsement from the county to support us in that endeavor. And all told, in Iron County, we're looking at 3,740 different locations throughout Saxon, Kimball, Pence, Mercer, Cary, I'm sorry. One other, Sherman, thank you, throughout those areas. And those will be 100% fiber to those premises. When I say premise, a resident. So.
You got a long way to go though. Because after this round on the 25th, then they got to divvy them up.
Yeah, so once round one is done, February 25th, Public Service Commission will look at all the people and all the companies that bid on these areas basically and decide, do we award right away? Do we go to round two and start working through all the information a little bit more too.
Is this the same as Novato?
Yeah, same thing, but at this juncture, we can support as many as we want, and we should, because they're all gonna cover different parts of the county. We're gonna try to see.
So my next question is, your map kind of going off of what Novato's was, off population density and.
No. So we're going off the data that the Public Service Commission has provided, and that's what everybody should be going off, because that's the data that is federal government is going off of. If you just go off population, it doesn't put a little pin drop in every one of those spots potentially. Public Service Commission, if you get bored, there's a really great website that has this all mapped out, and it shows exactly where all these areas, they call them units. Those are these little hexagonal areas you'll see. And within a hexagonal area, there could be one house. There could be 50 houses. And so we, Brightspeed, we'll bid on project units. Total 47 in Iron County. As Chairman said, round two, Public Service Commission come back to us and say, well, you didn't bid on that other project unit right next door to that one. Would you bid on that one too? Because nobody else did. The answer is sure, maybe.
Or I asked this, I think I asked you this. If you bid on, there's 5 of them, and you bid on 5, and you only got the 4, the Public Service Commission don't know what they're gonna do yet. And with this one, are they gonna give it to them? Are they not? There's some questions.
Yeah.
For right now, the best thing Iron County can do is support as many of these as we can.
And so we appreciate the opportunity to come in and talk about it. We're diligently trying to build this network out. We're slated to do it right here in Hurley. We're all ready to go. The equipment is in the central office right downtown. And now our next step is to start building out the fiber network. And we do it a variety of ways too. We go aerial, where we have existing joint use agreements with the power company, or we do vibratory plow, or we do directional bore. So it is a variety of different ways of doing it. But it's 100% fiber.
I'm not a fan of Brightspeed, and mostly because of the service that has been provided historically. And I've had a lot of people tell me they're not supportive of CenturyLink for Brightspeed, and actually will not recommend it as a service provider. What are you going to change?
Well, like you said, a lot of those service-related issues are based on the network itself and the old copper inadequate network. It's the whole point why we're putting fiber in.
I understand that there was a fiber network down our road and still, yeah, it was down at that.
It was our network?
Oh, yeah. And this is my understanding, and they never serviced it. So I'm telling you, I'm very disappointed in your company as a whole, and I quit your company for that reason.
No, I can appreciate your commentary. Can you tell me when the fiber was put in the ground that they were talking?
I can't tell you dates. I'm terrible at dates.
Like years ago or recently?
I don't know. Is it 5 or 6
We have fiber, Brightspeed fiber everywhere in Iron County. It's just not to the home.
It's not
Correct. And that's our goal, is to get to fiber to the home with this grant program, and 2, in the areas that we're strategically building out. Early Pence, Montreal is our first step.
And again, customer service. When we have a problem, what are you going to do about it to help mitigate those things? Because I'm not impressed. I mean, I'm really not impressed with the service that was provided.
When you say the customer services are technical people in the field, is it when you call into us?
I mean, it was the call centers and not responding and not returning calls and not showing up. And finally, I had to say enough and go with another provider.
We've done a completely inadequate job in that area, and we are trying to do better. And trying to train our people to understand what our customers are saying, and just work through it. If I said anything else, I'd be disingenuous saying, we're going to be so good, you're never going to believe it. We're trying, we're working through it. It's a fairly new company too, with old assets to a certain extent.
I got a motion in a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We'll support you the first round, guy.
Thank you.
You better get it together, or Karen ain't letting it go. She's done.
Thank you.
Number 12, rezone from an F1 forestry to RR1 recreational residential in accordance with the S and base community development plan of Town of Mercer at 2003 West North Lake Road, Teresa Dennis Rose, Galonsky owners. I need a motion.
I'll make that motion.
A motion by Tanner,
Second.
second by Kurt. Any discussion on that? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Discuss approve emergency fire warden organizational list for the Department of Natural Resources per state statute 2612 or 2614. We have to do this. They need a motion. Motion by Bill Thomas,
I'll support.
second by Paul Muller. Anybody want to discuss that? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Discuss an action on resolution 2025 3089 county records modernization funding reserves. Roxanne, give a little 2-minute thing on this. I need a motion first.
I'll make that motion.
By Kurt,
I'll second.
second by Karen. Right. Discuss.
All right, according to Wisconsin statute 5972 sub 5, the Register of Deeds office collects $30 for every document they record. And $15 of that 30 comes into county revenue. $7 is submitted off to the State of Wisconsin Department of Administration. You fill out a form every month for that. And then $8 is required to be reserved for something called Land Records Modernization Funding. And the purpose of that is to preserve the paper land information records by scanning them into an online database. So for instance, right now, if you go over to the Register of Deeds office, you'll see in their back room, they have all these beautiful old bound books that contain all the land records back to 1892, right? And if we had a fire, or if we had water damage, or a roof fell in, or whatever, all those records would be destroyed. These aren't like accounting records or something where you only have to keep them for 7 years or whatever. These you have to keep forever, so as long as we can. So the object here with this law is that we scan all of the records into an online database. Is it called Landshark? Correct. Okay, and then that way the general public can access them, realtors, title companies can all access these records. So it's much better than what we're doing right now, where everybody's got to come in and get these pieces of paper. So this law went into effect in 2017, 2016, somewhere in that neck of the woods. And the County Register of Deeds has been collecting that $8 per document since that time. And it's just been going into our general fund. Okay, so the revenues have been recorded, and they haven't been set in a separate little account. So what this resolution is doing is it's saying that that $8 per record that's been collected over the last, since 2017 forward, 7 years, we're now going to just segregate that from the general fund into its own reserve balance. And the amount is on the second page, the back page of your resolution in your packet. Through the end of 2024, it totals $144,000, $196.97. And we'll just move that out of the general fund reserves into its own account so that it can be spent on this scanning. We're going to have a scanning service come in. Our contractor's already been identified and quoted. Dan Swan, in fact, did all that legwork before he retired. So we're anticipating this will be spent from those reserves, and then the Register of Deeds staff will take care of the indexing. They'll just come in a couple days, scan everything, and then you guys have to index it afterwards. So any overtime associated with that would come out of this reserve fund as well. So that's pretty much it. That's what land records modernization is, and it's a law that allows County Register of Deeds departments to set aside $8 from every $30 you pay in a recording fee, so that we can have this done.
If I could add something to that, too. Once the scanning is done, that modernization doesn't stop at
Right.
that, because that fee is continuing to collected. So those funds could then be used, for our soccer, our maintenance, once that project has been completed.
So once they come in, catch us up, you will continually keep us up, so they don't have to come back.
And we continue to collect the money because it goes into the land check program that is can be accessed by anybody, federal companies, general public, anybody who wants to use it. And those fees are applicable on every claim. So that money continues to come into it, just, you don't spend it and it's gone, it just continues to replenish itself. So that is an ongoing fee, and I mean, you know, I guess you could look at it as some sort of like a grant program, because we should be able to use our own funds that are earned, hopefully throughout the future, to sustain our office.
Anybody else got any questions?
I have a question. So we, Neil Martinko's team had actually put that into a grant for this next year, so.
But he's doing a different kind of.
That was different? Okay.
This money was always there, right? Like
Yes.
Roxanne makes fun of me, but the county was run on a money tree. Just one tree, we went to money off it. Now we have little branches, and the money goes on little branches where it should have been the whole time, and now we're just straightening it out.
So Neil Martinko's money, if I can just clarify this, Neil Martinko's grants are state grants. Out of that $30, remember I said 15 stays here, the $8 for land modernization stays here, and that $7 goes off to the state of Wisconsin. But what the state of Wisconsin does is it turns around and takes that $7 and recycles it and sprinkles over all the counties for different projects like Neil's. So he's applying for a state grant that comes out of that $7.
All right, so now I understand it better. Thank you.
You got a motion and a second, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. This next one's almost, this got to do with discussion action. Contract with Trim US Imaging for land record modernization for Register of Deeds Office. I need a motion. We got a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Jamie, second. Seconded by Karen. Does anybody want to discuss this? She just did, really.
That's the contract that Dan Soin had talked about back, or had gotten back in whatever, October, November, and to have people come in and check this out.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. 16, discuss action on approving the overtime for indexing in the deeds office as paid out of the recording fee collection per statute. We need a motion. Carl?
I'll second.
Seconded by Tanner. Anybody want to discuss that? We know where the money's coming from. It's set aside for such thing. Everybody understand? Okay, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. 17, discuss action resolution 2025-3090, partial Saxon Harbor loan principal payment. I need a motion.
I'll make that
Motion by
motion.
Pat, second by Bill.
Yes.
Bill, discuss. Kurt, this is, like Kurt said, this is what you do in our own families, in our own homes. We just did our taxes. We got a refund. We got money from a money tree we found. So we're not running off the Cape Coral. We're gonna pay our debts. Does everybody agree? Let's pay it off. Now, we ain't paying it off, but at least we're paying off on something. We're not going crazy. Does everybody agree on that? Smart move?
Yeah.
I think, yeah. All in favor?
Aye.
There better not be anybody opposed. Motion carries. Discussion action, no, did that one. Discuss action resolution 2025-3091, temporary hire of deputy clerk reports for leave coverage. I had this put on here because she might be over 6 weeks. If she wanted to be over the money, where the full county board's got to vote on it. She's gonna have medical leave. Karen's going to explain it. She's going on leave. We need somebody that knows how to do it right away. Eileen's offered to step in and do it for 4 to 6 weeks at the same pay of that they're getting now. She can appoint anybody. We don't have to post it because it's an appointment by the clerk. I need a motion. We Dougie made the motion, I need a second. I just discussed it. Anybody else got any discussion of what we're doing there? Just helping out somebody. Maybe 4 to 6 weeks, it might not even be that long, but we gotta have it covered. They have a lot of work. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? After covering everything on here, and you did a good job, Eric. I think this meeting is adjourned. 7:20, that's pretty decent for us. I was like, this guy's like, I'm working.
Which way do we go? Under the table? Oh, yeah, me too. The shot.
No, yesterday morning.
Not just looking at you.
That's so good, so I have to push it to the east, then back up and move it over again. The West Bank only takes so much. Yeah, at least I'm going the right direction. Yeah, right. One way low.
Are you going to? We're supposed to meet for now.
Casey. Carl from Rutland. Oh, so I'm the one that signed all the permits.
Thank you.
Yeah. So you guys do, I live on Saxon off of Clement Road. Okay. Are we, Saxon's gonna be on it eventually too? Okay. I was gonna ask to write down the website so I could look at it myself. I got 5 minutes. For this, I got 5 minutes. How much my wife complains about internet. Corey does a great job. He's been with you guys forever. Yeah. Corey's related. Corey's cousin.
Shake your hand. Pleasure to meet you in person.
Yes, yes, it is good. Yeah, Corey, I love you. But you gotta win over Karen. Karen's Karen.
Don't feel bad, Karen.
I have no problem.
I've been beat up pretty good in a lot of these types of meetings.
Somebody
Okay.
cut her line. She didn't like it. She was down on her internet.
We're our own problem sometimes as a highway crew cut lines ourselves. So trust me.
I didn't say it.
I live across from a little building.
Yesterday, he tried to get a couple of extra gigs down at the highway. That was Brightspeed, right?
Oh, yeah, down to highway building in Mercer.
Yeah, and you couldn't even give us any gigs.
Our internet's so slow, our security cameras don't work, so our IT guy is in with you guys and you guys are supposed to meet, somebody's supposed to meet with them and upgrade it. So-
Gigabytes, we can't even see.
Well,
I did.
You bought a bunch of, you bought an old system, basically what it boils down to. It's a business. Everybody should understand.
I know, but I gotta get on.
So you've been in the little building in Sharp's House?
So I think I was a scooter and I went up to Saxon.
We all know that little building in Saxon's like the hub for this whole area.
It's a lot. Yeah, it goes Ashland is the next.
So there's times I go by there and there's a guy in a black suit sitting on a chair in a door.
What?
There's several times where there's SUV in the alley. Cause when I was a kid, I think you guys used to pay me to go shovel snow, but there's a black SUV in the well, not Brightspeed, Central like used to pay us $25 a time.
In a store.
Sitting on a chair in a black suit. We just figured it's the FBI trying to hone in on one of us in town.
I haven't heard that one before.
He's in it, not a lot, but a couple times a year.
This is what, this,
Everyone has a
all
good
the white
parent side of the
dots
story. When I was
are
like
considered
12,
those
I didn't weigh enough to
eligible
get down,
addresses.
so I got stuck up
that
in the air.
Public Service Commission-
Oh, what's this? Is this? No, that's 122.
I'm not on there. Son of a gun.
Yeah,
that's probably yours.
You're not getting that street, you were supposed to be eligible for the public service, is the thing.
Now, if we're,
I always say,
I
what if you're
can
going
zoom in.
by my place, and I'm not on that map? I'm gonna give you-
Yeah.
service.
That's my house right
So
here.
it's not on the map.
I'm not even on the map. Oh, shoot.
I can't believe it's not on the map.
I'm on the map. That's my place right there. I'm gonna start denying permits, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, so this is